What's up, awesome peeps? Brent McCluskey here, and I'm very excited to see you all here again today. Hopefully you're having an awesome day, taking a little bit of a break from reality, maybe unplugging for a little bit to watch this video, geek out on electric bikes, basically just take a break. We are here today to talk about one question that I get asked like literally every single time that I go out on an electric bike, and that question is, can an electric bike replace a car? And after about 2 years of testing around 3 dozen different electric bikes and putting about 1,000 miles on e-bikes all in all, the answer is, without question, it's complicated. I feel like, in my experience, I could get an electric bike and I could use it for 95% of my trips that I need to do, because let's get real, like most of the trips that people take are like just a couple of miles away from their home. And then for those last couple of like maybe 5% margin where I don't feel like e-bikes would work out, I could just take an Uber if I could afford that, or I could take a bus, or like another local transit that's hopefully not very expensive. So yeah, again, it's going to depend on a lot of different factors, right? It's going to depend on where do you guys live. Like maybe you live in a particularly hilly area. Maybe you live in a place where it's raining all the time. Do you live in Seattle? Do you live in Alaska where it's like super cold and snowy? You know, those kind of places, that margin might start getting a little bit bigger. Maybe it'd be like 80% of the time e-bikes could replace a car, but then there's a 20% margin where it couldn't. So, you know, the reason I don't want to say it's 100% yes is because it's going to depend on a lot of variables, and I don't think it's going to work for everybody, but I do think it can work for the right types of people that want to do this, and for the right types of places that are maybe like California, Arizona, that are dry, you know, most of the time, most of the year, and e-bikes would work in those environments. So enough talking. I want to take one of my e-bikes out today and show you guys just like one of the things I typically do to take my e-bikes out. So let me show you something here. This is this is totally not sponsored, by the way, but this is a soda water, a seltzer water, right? This is from a company called Topo Chico, and I kind of feel like I'm a soda water connoisseur at this point. I have tried like every single one that I can find, and I really, maybe it's healthy, maybe it's not, but I almost exclusively drink like soda water. Probably should look into that. I don't know. Is that healthy? You tell me. Leave a comment. I have no idea. But it doesn't matter because this is my last one, and I need to go to the grocery store to pick up a whole nother box of these. So what I'm going to do is take my e-bike out, film this thing, and there's a couple of points that I really want to make, but they're better made on the road. So without further ado, let's get riding. Okay, so before I get started on this trip right here, I wanted to talk to you guys about the bike that I'm riding, because I feel like this is kind of an important aspect of, you know, this decision. If you guys are trying to do like a, you know, replacement to a car, if you're really trying to have an electric bike replace your car, like it's going to depend on where you live for which type of electric bike that you need, right? Like when I first started out, I was riding like these massive, huge, full suspension electric mountain bikes. They were really heavy, but they were really powerful. Anyways, long story short, they didn't end up working for me from my area. I live in kind of like a suburbia type area. So this is the bike that I've been using, and I'll tell you why. This is the Volta from a company called Pure Cycles. They have two versions of this same bike right here. One of them has a single speed, which I have that one as well. It's got a belt drive. It's really sweet. But I ended up using this one more. It's got a 8-speed, just like a regular kind of chain setup here. SRAM X4 derailleur. But there's a couple main reasons why I really dig this bike. Number one, it's really low key. Like everything is like internal. The batteries are internal. A lot of the electronics are internal. Like it looks like a regular bike, so I don't doesn't draw a lot of attention from like police or just like, you know, thefts or whatever, or thieves or whatever. It's got a basket kind of built in, which is dope. It's got some nice safety features like a integrated headlamp right here and an integrated tail light that actually gets brighter whenever I pull the brake levers, which is dope. It has regenerative braking. So whenever I pull the brake levers, it actually starts feeding some of the juice back into the battery. It's got this 250 watt gearless hub motor, which I found is really good for just kind of like having a really smooth ride. It's got a really sensitive torque sensor, so there's not a delay from the time that I start and stop pedaling to the time that the motor actually starts giving me power. So, you know, again, a lot of little reasons, but so I live in suburbia, right? So for me, this is really good because this is a really light bike. This thing only weighs like 30 pounds or something like that, and it's got a traditional like top tube. So when I try to carry this thing up and down stairs, I can just pick it up like this, and it's easy for me to pick up. Whereas like I was talking about, you know, those full suspension mountain bikes, the really powerful stuff, which yeah, it does go up hills really well. It can go really fast. Like it didn't work for me. So yeah, okay, let's keep riding. Okay, so here's another interesting talking point, I think. Something that I've learned after, again, about 1,000 miles of riding over a couple dozen different bikes in the last 2 or 3 years is that more is not always better when it comes to power. Okay, well, yeah, actually, it kind of is always better. However, it's not always necessary. So again, this bike that I'm rocking here, this one only has 250 watts of power. However, the hill that I'm about to go up right here, let's see if we can get a view of it. It's a pretty steep hill. And yeah, you know, look, 1,000 watts of power would be a lot nicer than 250 watts, but with a 250 watt motor, with a geared bike like this where I can drop it into first gear, it allows me to get up there without really breaking a sweat. Because, I mean, for me, like, I'm not looking to break a sweat when I'm riding an electric bike. Like, I want to commute, you know, I want to get to the store, I don't want to be all sweaty. That's why I'm riding an electric bike instead of a regular bike, because I'm trying to replace a car, right? Like, that's what I'm doing here. So, with that being said, we're going to climb this hill. I'm going to film it and show you guys what it's like to climb a moderate sized hill with this electric bike. Again, 250 watt motor, because I think that is something that needs to be kept in mind for you guys, right? It's going to depend on where you live. Do you live in a really hilly area? Are you in San Francisco? Maybe you do need a more powerful motor, or maybe you live somewhere like where I do in suburbia with a few hills where a 250 watt motor will do it, right? That'll do it for you. So, okay, yeah, enough talking, let's go. Alright, so I can already start to feel it. This is definitely a moderately steep hill. I'm in second gear right now, and it's taking some effort to get up here, but it's not killing me. It's not the worst. Obviously, if I lived in a place where I had hills like this all over, I would probably consider going back to something with a more powerful motor, a bigger battery, something that's going to help me get up all the hills. However, I don't have a lot of hills like this in this area. It's only 1 or 2. So 250 watts, smaller battery size, it's working okay for me. Yeah,
Yowza! So I think that's, you know, like I was saying, a good piece of advice that I can offer from my experiences is it's really important to find the electric bike that's going to work for you if you're trying to replace a car with it. Maybe you do need the 1,000 watts of power, maybe 500 watts, 250 watts. It's going to depend on your individual needs and where you live. And something like this, look, this doesn't even have mud flaps, right? Because it's always dry here in California. I don't need them. But again, if you live somewhere like Seattle, maybe that's something that you would want. Okay, my light is green, I gotta go. Remember when I was talking about stairs earlier? Again, that's one of the reasons why I really like this bike, or just any bike that's going to be lighter, because it's easier to carry. Especially a bike like this where the batteries are internal and they're placed kind of in the middle of the frame. It's a well-balanced bike and it's easy to pick up from the top tube here. And I can carry it up and down stairs without breaking my back over it. So this is what it looks like. Right? I mean, like, legit super easy. So, all right, we are here at the Nugget now, and again, the goal here is to get some Topo Chico waters. That's really the only reason I went out today. And I'm taking the bike to show you guys that, yeah, it can replace a car in 9 out of 10 scenarios, maybe even 95 out of 100 scenarios. So, yep, time to get some water. Okay, so this is the only reason I went out right here, was for some sparkling water, because again, this is like the only thing that I drink. So let's see if it was worth the trip. Wow, okay. Yep, if you like sparkling water, I don't know, you guys gotta try this Topo Chico. It's my favorite so far. Like I said, I've tried like all of them, but yeah, that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about whether or not electric bikes can replace cars, right? And so again, like I was saying earlier, I would say 9 times out of 10, maybe even 95 times out of 100, the answer is going to be yes, at least in my experience, in my case. So, you know, for reference, I weigh about 200 pounds. I live in California where it's bright, it's sunny for most of the time, it barely rains. So, you know, the bike that I ended up choosing was one that worked for me, and that was this bike, because it's small, it's compact, it's easy enough for me to carry up and down stairs. It can carry my weight with the 250 watt motor, and the frame, it's powerful enough to get me where I need to go. I don't have a lot of hills, and something that's important to me about this frame size, this kind of compact one, is like, you know, when I'm going places, I'm typically going to stores, right? I'm going to get, you know, just like a water or some groceries or something. And I don't want to leave my bike outside because I'm super paranoid about it getting stolen. And for a full-size bike, I typically get hassled if I bring that in a store. But something like this, where it's pretty small, I feel like nobody even cares. It's smaller than a shopping cart, right? Like, just nobody even bothers me for it. So again, it's going to depend, I think, on your guys' individual experiences or your individual kind of settings, like your needs, stuff like that. A couple other things that I want to point out though is like, some of the times where this has not worked out for me, I want to talk about those, and I want to talk about the solutions that I did. So again, the last couple of weeks here, last 3 weeks, there's been really big fires in California, and I haven't had a chance to go outside because it's been like black smoke everywhere. So I haven't been able to ride my bike, and I've been taking my car. I do still have a car, I just barely use it. However, if I was truly going to replace my car with an electric bike, some things that I would do is I would use an Uber to get around if I could afford that, or if I needed to, I would use like a bus or public transit, maybe a train, depending on where I live. Like, there are other options to get around if you don't have a car, and an electric bike is really your primary mode of transportation. Some other things to consider too for like which type of bike is going to work for you is, you know, how far are you guys going to be commuting, or how far is your typical destination? Like, is this something that you're going to be taking to work? Is your work like 20 miles away? If it is, and something like this, it's not going to work. You know, that's why I keep saying, like, he's going back to like your individual needs. However, I think if you really kind of like map out what it is that you guys do when you travel, then I think you can find the right bike for you. And I think it really can work out to where for 95 times out of 100, an electric bike can replace a car. However, if I'm being honest, there are going to be those times where it's just not going to work out, you know? So yeah, I know that wasn't exactly a definite answer, but again, this is based on my experience, man. After like 1,000 miles of riding, right? Testing a couple dozen bikes over a couple of years, and I don't know, that's kind of the best answer I have for you guys, and I just want to, you know, be straight up, be honest with you, and hopefully you guys dug this video. Hopefully it was helpful. If you guys are trying to do this, if you are, you know, replacing your car with electric bike, let us know what your experience has been like. What kind of bike did you choose? What were your like needs? Where do you live? Tell us the story. Share it with us, because hopefully we can all learn from, you know, our collective experiences. That would be really fantastic. So anyways, again, hope you dug this little video. I guess it's kind of a review, more of like a tutorial, whatever you want to call it. But stick around, we have some other cool videos coming up here shortly. Have a great day. If you are going out to ride safe, have fun, and I'll see you guys next time.